diet and healthy lifestyle.
Right. Are you ready?
No.
Prepare yourselves because you're not going to like it. In October 2021, the organs of a Kentucky donor who had been declared dead were ready to be harvested. But then the doctors made a startling discovery. He was still alive.
What?
Natasha Miller, an organ preservationist in the operating room during the incident, said he was moving around, kind of thrashing, like moving and thrashing around on the bed. And when we went over there, you could see he had tears coming down. He was crying visibly. Well, you'd be thrashing around and crying visibly if doctors decided to take your organs out before you'd finished with them. Miller said that the two doctors refused to perform the organ retrieval after realising that the donor had been wrongly declared dead. Two doctors. Well, what did the other doctors say? That not being dead was not a disqualifying condition for organ removal? Miller said it was very chaotic. Everyone was just very upset. Upset? I can imagine. Not the least of which was the man on the table. Are you kidding me? The patient was 36-year-old Anthony Thomas T.J. Hoover II, who had been admitted to Baptist Health Hospital in Richmond, Kentucky earlier that day after experts noticed that his name was too long. I mean, seriously, Anthony Thomas T.J. Hoover II? He should have had some of those names removed under general anaesthetic.
Correct.
His sister Donna recalled a flicker of concern when, as her brother was being taken from the intensive care unit to an operating room, she recalled seeing him open his eyes, which then began darting around the room, as you would if you were, not dead, and you were being wheeled into an operating theatre to have your heart taken out for someone else's use. But I haven't even got to the best part yet. Spoiler alert, the best part is the worst part.
Oh, no.
Earlier that day, the donor had undergone cardiac catheterization, which is used to evaluate the heart's health before transplant. The donor had woken up during this procedure that morning for a cardiac catheterization, and he was thrashing around on the table. But then doctors sedated the patient and continued to plan to recover his organs.
What?
They weren't going to let a little thing like thrashing about tell them whether someone was alive or not. Ultimately, the organ retrieval was cancelled. This alleged near-miss incident does not stand alone. At a congressional hearing in September, one witness, Dr. Robert Cannon, the surgical director of the liver transplant program at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, told the committee, "I've experienced this myself." A procurement doctor had been declared brain dead, and in the middle of the operation, an anaesthetist said he thought the patient breathed, which would essentially negate the declaration of brain death. Dr. Cannon said the staff then called their administrator, who chalked it up to a brain stem reflex and recommended they proceed, which of course would have been murder if we'd done so, said the doctor. Every transplant surgeon's probably got a story of themselves or a colleague that's had something like this, Dr. Cannon told the committee. And I'm sorry if this sounds selfish, but my last request would be to ensure that I have actually made my last request. My last request would be to check whether I have some further requests to make before some eager beaver rips my vitals out before I've finished with them. This patient appreciates your patience. I'll give them to you when I'm done.
Thank you.
And that's it. If you subscribe to this podcast, the next